Hey, ain't you kind of boy KT?
Oh, what's up? You looking for me? Hey, what's up with the cow the gang? Oh! Hey, y'all don't know what it is. Y'all already know who it is. You know what I'm saying? Boy, cow the boy KT now. Hey, make sure you like, subscribe, comment, all that. Matter of fact, I'm gonna show you better. Check it out. 17. Hey, what's going on with the KOYOTEPACK? What's good? What's good? Hey, what's happening? You know what I'm saying? How y'all doing? Got Ermac over there. Y'all already know. But today, it's not gonna be about Ermac in particular. It's gonna be about this Nissan Altima right here. But y'all already knew that, right? Y'all seen the thumbnail. So if you're new to the channel, stand back, KOYOTEPACK. Y'all know how we do it. Oh! Y'all already know what it is. Y'all already know who it is. You know what I'm saying? It's your boy KT, man. Y'all back on the channel. If you're new to the channel now, subscribe. That way you can browse the channel. Check out some of my playlists. I have some dope videos on there. You know, a couple how-tos. You know what I'm saying? If you want to learn how to, you know, change certain parts or upgrade your car a certain way, how to do it. As well as different car shows and stuff like that I venture into. As well as a couple of them Mexico. You know what I'm saying? Mexico races, you know. But anyway, like I was saying, we finna talk about this Nissan right here, and pretty much we're gonna discuss on why I don't have no heat. Ultimately, in the back of my mind, remember I said this, I think I know what's wrong with the car, but you know, we're gonna just, you know, kind of check some things that, you know, could go happen when you're dealing with heat. For the most part, most people know thermostats, they know heater cores, they know water pumps and stuff like that. But leading up to that, you know, it could be something as simple as the car's cold right now. So checking the radiator cap, you know, check it off. As you can see, there's nothing in there. And if the car's cold, this is supposed to be full. So that's already a sign that we're low on coolant. And if you did another sign, you come over here to the coolant reservoir. And as you can see if I can get you in there. There's nothing in there, okay? So if a car is cold and you see no coolant in your reservoir or radiator cap, some cars have these, some don't, but most have the radiator reservoir. But if you open both of these and you see no coolant, then you're already low on coolant. So that's a very good indication where we can start from. Then after that, we can start working our way up to like open thermostats and stuff like that. But one thing I also want to show you, even though the car is cold, I'm about to show you this, but most of the time when you do this, you want to have the car started up, but you can kind of get an indication, you know, with the car kind of being off. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Let's see if y'all might still be able to see, so might be able to cut this light off or something. But anyway, just kind of put the car in the on position. Okay, and what I was talking about is dealing far with like the unit right here. So let's say right now the blower motor is off. It's on cold right now, but we're gonna just turn up the heat even though we don't have none. And then if you notice, if you turn this up, you kind of hear the fan speeds, like put it on low, you hear it's low, and as I go up, you'll see the blower motor will kind of increase its speed. So that's a good indication that the blower motor works. And then let's start right here with coming out the front vent. You can see I'm gonna turn up just a little bit, but if it's just coming out the front and nowhere else, okay, that's good. The front blend door works for it to come out the front. Then we can move to the second one, which is like front and foot. So let's check it front. Let's see down here. Okay, it's coming through here. So that's good. That blend door works, you know, in that motion. So now we're gonna go to straight foot only. So this should be quiet, and you can hear the blend door closed. If you heard the little knock, that's the blend door closing up here. And this should just be open down there. And it is. And then the last piece we're gonna check is it gonna work from the windshield to the floor. We check up here, we got action in the windshield, we got action in the floor. So that's a good indication that the blower motor is working and functioning correctly. So that's a little notch that you can kind of cross off the list as far as the car being operational, because had this not worked, you can't start to diagnose the heat because you need the blend door to open in different spaces. And then as far as the blower motor, if this didn't work, then you have to start here because you need the blower motor fan speeds to be working correctly. And there's like a transistor that also comes into play. If it wasn't working, then you'll check the transistor, replace that, then hopefully it works. If not, then you have to replace the actual part, unless you got a broken wire or something somewhere, but that's on a different note. Okay, so now we know we got the blower motor, we got all action with the blend door motor. Let's check, let's go front to back. So that front is working, and I'm assuming the back is working. I'm not gonna go check the back, but I'm assuming it is working. So right now I'm about to remove this inlet tube for the air filter, and then I'm gonna remove these 10mm bolts and get this heat shield off the manifold. That way I can get access to that thermostat. Like I said, I'm just gonna change it because I'm about to flush all the coolant out the engine and radiator anyway. So we're just gonna change that just to have that done. Then it's gonna look like this. So now what I'm gonna do, since I have access to this now, is that I'm gonna drain the radiator and just kind of run some water through here just to kind of flush it. Now, be in mind, people have their own opinion, I understand, but we're just gonna give this an old school flush. We're just gonna run some water through here when we drain it, and just kind of get all the, you know, if it is any type of rust or something through the system, just get it out. I don't have the actual vacuum machine where I can pull the coolant and collapse the hoses and stuff like that, and I might need to do it, but don't have it. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go a little old school. We're just gonna drain the radiator, put a water hose through here, and just get everything drained, and then see what we have from there once we patch everything back up. We might not have great heat if we have none at all, but it's just the point. I'm just showing you what happens when the heat goes bad in cars. I'm just working on the Nissan to get the heat back running. So that's pretty much it. So let me unbolt the bolt that goes to this radiator. Then I'm gonna undo the thermostat. I'm gonna run some water through here, let the car run while the water is cycling, let it drain out my beautiful driveway here. I'm not gonna put no pan under there, not at all. Don't feel like it. And then just go from there, guys. Simple as that. Alright, you guys, so you can see I have the thermostat housing loosened up, and then the coolant is dripping down blue. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put the hose through here, because the water is gonna come out here first. So I'm gonna put the hose here when I take this off, and let the coolant run its course, and then that blue should turn clear once all the coolant is out the engine and everything. And then that's how you know that you'll have all the coolant out. So let me finish getting that unbolted, and then I'm gonna show you what it looks like when you want to run it through it. So you see right now, if you look right here, you see it's still kind of bluish. You see the water being put through the radiator, and then the blue is gonna start turning all clear once all the coolant is out the engine and the heater core. But like I say, if I didn't say it, the coolant in this car, it runs from the top, goes through the engine, does this thing with the heads and everything, how it runs. This car has 2 thermostats, which another one's over there. And it checks with that thermostat, I believe. Either or, it runs through here, through the front, go through the engine, does this thing in the engine, goes through the firewall. The blower motor then blows the heat into the cabin, and then the coolant comes back through this lower hose right here. That's why you see the water coming through there after it's disconnected. So this shows you the flow of the radiator and how the engine is running. By me putting the water through the radiator and it's coming out down there, the flow is from top to bottom. Most of the cars just from bottom to top, but this one is from top to bottom. So I'm just gonna keep running this water until all the water is out of the block. All right, I cut the engine off. As you can see, most of the coolant is already gone. The water is clear. So I'm just gonna cut the water off on the hose. And I'm gonna let this continue to drain out until it stops draining. And then the engine will be pretty much clear of the water. Might still just be a little left in there, but you know, it's not gonna be much. And then after that, I'm gonna go in with the new thermostat. All right, so this is the new thermostat on my left, and this is the old one. You wanna make sure you compare these things before you put them back in the vehicle. That way you can make sure that you have the right thing. And they look to both match up. So now I'm gonna go back in with the new one, fill it up with coolant. And the way I'm gonna try to drain this, like I said, I know I don't have the machine, but the way I'm gonna try to drain this, I'm gonna fill it up with coolant and let it overflow through the top. And then you'll know because the bubbles will start coming, and that's air that's trying to escape the system. Alright, you guys, so I got it button back up. And this is the other thermostat that I was telling you guys about. Since I'm done with that, I can come over and show you. That's the second one. So after seeing it now, the cooler goes through this top line, checks with this one, then goes into the firewall, blower motor does this thing, blows into the cabin, and comes back out through this one right here. So that's how that works. Now I filled the coolant up right here. I'm using the green coolant. I'm using this right here, pressed on platinum, guaranteed for all vehicles. As you can see, look on the back, American, Asian, European. Now usually I like to use the specific coolant that comes out of the car that's made specifically for that vehicle. But you know, I said I was going to try this out because I like the green. I like this green color. Even though my favorite color is blue, but I do like the green coolant. But anyway, I'm gonna fill this up. As you can see, I filled it up, and then I filled it up right there in the reservoir. But as I start the engine up, this is gonna suck down, so I'm gonna have to continue to either fill here, which really doesn't matter, because like I say, if we want it to bleed, we can leave this open and let the bubbles come through here, and I can just fill it through there because it's going to empty out of there once it gets to going. So let me get the engine started up and we'll check it out. All right, you guys, so I finally found my funnel. So I just kind of put it right here on top of the where the cap goes, just stuck it down in the radiator, and pretty much you can kind of see the coolant right there. I can still reach the hose even though I kind of button everything back up. But if you just kind of squeeze the hose, you can kind of see like some bubbles are still right there, like right there, they're still in the system. So just kind of squeeze the hose just to kind of bring them out. And then just continue to let it run and do that process over and over. Also, on this thermostat over here, I didn't have to change it. The reason why, because when you come back here, this ends up going to the firewall. After the check here goes to the firewall, and after you touch these hoses, both should be hot. Like that right there, that's scorching hot. And then you should be able to feel the other one, and that one should be just as hot. Now, if one is hot and one is cold, then obviously coming out of the heater core, there might be a little slight stoppage or cloggage in the heater core. So then that could potentially be the issue. Now, if both of the hoses are hot, then we're just going to continue to go with the diagnosing of the heat problem. But so far, like I said, we changed this thermostat out. I would just change that out anyway, since I was going to bleed the system and just make a little simple change there. Also, we were low on coolant, which is the first thing you want to start with. Now we got the coolant topped off. We're just going to continue to go with the flow, and then I'm gonna let this run for a little bit, and if this doesn't work, then we'll possibly talk about the heater core. But I have my heat gun, and I'm gonna check those hoses after the car, just let it run a little bit more. But if both lines are the same type of hot, then we'll continue on with the process. Now, how this works is there's two hoses that go to the firewall I was telling you about. One hose is an inlet hose, and it goes from this thermostat housing onto the firewall. So if I have a good temperature reading there, that'll let me know that the thermostat is closing and opening properly, and I have good heat range. And then coming out is the outlet hose from the firewall. So if I have about the same temperature coming out, that lets me know that I have good flow, and that the heater core is working properly. I'm gonna try to do this. You might not be able to see it, and I'm just gonna tell you what the numbers are, because I need kind of both hands, because I gotta kind of pull back on some vacuum hoses. So I'm just gonna sit you guys down like right here. You might not be able to see it, but I'm just gonna sit you down, and I'm just gonna read you off what it says. So I'm reaching back to move the first one. First hose, let's see, first hose reads about 160. And that's right here. Let me see if I can show you. It says about 160 on there. Now, let me see if I can get the second hose. So I'm gonna pull back and get the second reading. And that's about 157. About 157-ish. And it stopped about 164. So those temperatures are in range with each other. So it lets me know that my heater core is working properly. Alright, you guys, so we kind of got nighttime here. But anyway, let's do a little recap. So far, we checked the blend doors to make sure that the air was working properly, coming out either the dash, the windshield, the back glass, the floor, and we was getting different openings of wind coming out, so that's okay. We ended up finding out we was low on coolant, and we actually changed the coolant as well as changed the lower thermostat. We determined that the other thermostat was okay, because as we touched the hoses coming away from the thermostat, we determined that we had good heat with my hand, of course, and then of course with the heat gun. So we determined that the thermostat was closed and open properly, as well as the heater core not being clogged, because we was getting good pressure going in. Then we checked the pressure of the hose coming out of the heater core, which was the same temperature as it going in. So that's okay. So the heater core is okay. Now remember what I said earlier, in the back of my mind I kind of know what it is, but I just wanted to go through these steps with you guys. That way you can kind of see what you might have to troubleshoot to get to the finish line. So what I want to do is I want to go back inside the car and show you something. Now another thing I want to talk to you about right here is the temperature gauge right here. And when you look at the temperature gauge, like right now the car is in a good operational phase right now. It's almost dead even between the cold and heat. But usually you look at your temperature gauge, it tells you two things really. One, the water pump. Pretty much the water pump, it pumps water throughout the system, and when the water pump goes bad, one, it usually leaks, which I have no leaks on the car whatsoever, or two, the propeller inside doesn't spin, which doesn't let enough coolant get pumped throughout the system. So one thing that it can also make read bad is the thermostat. So by the thermostat actually being operational, because we checked it with the temperature gun as well as checking with our hands and stuff like that, we noticed that the thermostat is closed enough to build up enough heat to travel through the system to where there should be heat in the car. So that alleviates that problem. So like I said, the thermostats are good as well as the water pumps are good. So now we'll go on to the next problem I want to speak about. Alright, you guys, so I'm back in the vehicle right now. I have the air running right now, and pretty much I'm about to show you guys something. So that's the actuator right here again, and I'm actually under the car so you can actually see it move. Now, earlier in the video, what I was doing was I was changing the angle of how the air blows. Let's see if we can get it to move again. So pretty much, like if I want to get it to move like to the, right there, like that's the floor right here. You see it move. That's the blend door actually changing the angle of the air by closing one door to let it blow somewhere else. Let's see, let's find the back window. Like right there, that's the back window. Let's see if we can go back to the front. And you kind of just hear the air change. Okay, so you see it move. Now, on the flip side, when I actually change it to heat, let's see, it should also close or move. It should close for the AC and open for the heat. So it should actually move. So let's see if it moves. So you hear me turn the knob, the actuator is not moving. Turn it back to air, it's not moving. Because reason why is because it's stuck on the AC side. The blend door is stuck on the AC side as far as the opening. Because the blend door does another thing besides opening different angles to blow. It actually opens up between air coming in and heat coming in as well. So there's another door for that. And pretty much, since it's not moving when I go from back to heat again, that means that the actuator is actually just stuck on the AC side. So, yep, we either have to change that part or get it calibrated. So there you go, we found the problem. Alright, so I hope this video helped you guys to kind of understand what it's like to kind of diagnose heat in the vehicle, specifically in this Nissan Altima, but it's pretty much general for any modern, make and model. Older cars are slightly different, same principle. But anyway, so now what I'm going to do is I'm trying to get in contact with the dealership in the morning, see if I can find that part. And sometimes I know that the dealership can kind of program the actuators. If they're not too bad, they can calibrate them and actually get it to open and close. But if it's not a calibrating situation, like I said, I call and ask just to make sure. If it's not, then I just end up changing the part, and I'll make another video with me changing the part so you guys can get that down. But I hope, like I said, I hope you guys liked the video. KOYOTEPACK. Hey, y'all already know what it is. Y'all already know who it is, you know what I'm saying? It's your boy KT, man, I appreciate you. Hit that subscribe button. Check me out. Hey, what a day. It's every day, all day. Hey, it's more in the game. We are packed. So till then, y'all know what's fine.